Hey guys, this is Brandon from Galaxy Doc Market. Today is Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. It's about 2:53 p.m. Eastern Time as I bring you this. And as you can tell, I'm sure maybe the mainstream media may not be covering it so much, but there is direct confrontation to accelerate war by U.S. and Britain by providing long-range missiles that Russia has been warning about, and they have fired it into Russian territory. So we're going to be talking about war and the implications for the stock market. And so let's begin. Here's the disclaimer. Please pause it, read it. If you agree, please move forward. And also be sure to like, subscribe, and comment on my videos. All right, so we're also on X.com, Galaxy Doc Market. I've been super busy reposting and posting and commenting and posting lots and lots of charts and kind of my opinions about what is going on. Guys, it's not very good right now. And last Wednesday, I've been doing my videos on Wednesdays because so many things are happening post weekend. So I decided to start posting my videos on Wednesday, and I'll post more if I need to. But I talked about the rising bond yields as a warning and a potential time bomb that is ready to explode, and as one of the many black swans. And frankly, right now, and this is one of the pictures that I posted on my previous videos, and I was warning about the black swan events. And there's so many black swans swimming around at market all-time highs as people are euphorically chasing NVIDIA's, chasing the stock market all-time highs, gaming on GameStops, and just going gagas over Bitcoin. But yet there are these black swans that are swimming around, and insiders are selling. Warren Buffett is selling. Everybody's selling. I think the only people that are buying right now are probably the pension funds that manages your retirement, 401ks or teachers funds or unions, or it's the retail FOMO. All right, so this is a picture from last week. I talked about this. I said market is celebrating euphorically, and still do. And that was, I believe, an act of God that Trump won the election. But the glory is given to him, not to God. And so while everybody's celebrating Trump's, greatest comeback in political history, depending on which side of the aisle you're talking about. I know Democrats are threatening to leave the country, and they're still in shock, and they may never recover from that. But the elites are dumping into the FOMO-driven retail. I mean, this is a gift that keeps on giving, and nothing ever changes throughout history. So I want to get right into the video and the premise why I decided to do this. More importantly, this is serious, folks. Okay, Joe Biden, with about 60 days left in the market, not in the market, but in his presidency, with a smile on his face when he met Trump. I think he was talking about peaceful transfer of power, but I don't know what kind of peace he's talking about. But I think this is the biggest FU that he can give because, things have escalated. Sirens are now spreading in Ukraine, including Kiev, which is, where majority of the wealth is. And that's a city that if you went there, you would not believe that there's actually a war with all the Lamborghinis and Bugattis and everything else. There is just so much wealth down there after Russia launches ballistic missiles at the country. So Russia is retaliating, and Russia has clearly changed their war doctrine, and they said that they would strike nuclear if this provocation continues, especially using U.S.-made, long-range missiles. I think they call them ATACMS, and then Shadow something missile from UK. Now, these are missiles that cannot be operated by the Ukrainians. These are missiles operated by, most likely, the U.S. Military personnel. We already know that there is mercenaries. I've covered some pictures of, U.S. Rangers and Marines being found on the Ukrainian side dead from the war. War is a terrible thing, folks. I don't know why we're pushing it, but this is what's going on. And I believe, I've always said this, bankers take you to war, and the war drum is beating louder and louder. And if you're not paying attention somehow that this is going to get all solved before Trump's inauguration, have you ever thought about the fact that the Democrats do not want Trump in the office? What a great way to trigger war and hand him a pile of crap in the world to fix or get him distracted. or maybe even use that as a pretense, because I'm going to show you what Zelensky's doing right now in a few moments. Okay, now stocks are slumping, but it's just, if you can add zeros at will and print money to oblivion, you can prop up the stock market for as long as you can. Well, but the consequences are that it will hit the credit market. Well, the UK fires this storm shadow, that's the word that I couldn't figure out, very ominous looking fella, into Russia. Okay, so I think that there's some restraint being shown by Russia, but as we speak, they are retaliating into Ukraine. Especially this guy, the Tu-95MS Bear bombers, are only designed for strategic targets using nuclear warheads. Okay, these are bombers that were designed as an intercontinental bombers. It looks super old. It still looks scary as hell. Okay, and they're headed to launch into Ukraine, and they launched a bunch of these, and so we'll find out what the issue is. And of course, this is what I'm talking about. Zelensky again refuses to hold election because why? This is a dictatorship, right? This is Alex Jones. Love or hate him, the guy's been proven right, and he's been pretty well persecuted. And I don't care if we get demonetized. I mean, mine's a small channel. I don't think anyone's really paying attention to that, right, at YouTube. So Ukraine's still under martial law. I think they're going to try maybe to attempt to do the same thing under the Biden administration if we get into a full-blown World War III. Okay, there's some nefarious things that's being done by the left and by the powers that be, whether that is the bankers. I told you all the bankers take you to war. The world governments, the NGOs, the corporations. Okay, they are hell-bent on war, and I don't think anybody really knows the realities of war. Regardless, that's what's going on. And I think that there is some spiritual component to this. I'm a Christian. I'm not afraid to admit it. I just think that this is a battle of good and evil, I believe. And there are things that everyone needs to wake up and find out right now. And wake up, okay? Let's just get into even more salt on the wound. I've been covering Target off and on. Okay, Target continues its downward spiral. They missed their EPS and revenue. But more importantly, they are having problems selling their groceries and just kind of day-to-day items because consumers are dead. They're tapped out. They're having problems buying groceries. And you can see all of this happening. And we saw this coming. This is something that I've been warning you about. I talked about the consumer demand destruction, and the recession is real. And yet the stock market is at all-time highs. The tone-deaf Fed, we already found out, Powell admitted that basically the Federal Reserve Bank is outside of the U.S. government. So how can they set monetary policies? You go do the math. There needs to be some serious changes. Okay. But regardless, Target is telling you that the consumers are tapped out. The economy is not well. No matter what the alphabet agencies tell you, we are headed for something really, really bad. And now with this war rhetoric, okay, I think that was the plan all along by the powers that be, whether that be the Soroses of the families, whether it's BlackRock, which controls basically the entire stock market at this point, Federal Reserve Bank, central banks of the world, okay? Let's create a bogeyman, not boogeyman, on Russia. And if you think about it, I mean, why is it always Russia? Okay. Why are we provocating war if we're always talking about peace? Okay, so let's talk about this. We definitely have a situation. This is from last Wednesday. I said we tagged that line. And since then, if you can see it, we're beginning to come off. This is a monthly chart. Like I said, bad things happen once we start tagging these uptrend lines and throughout history. And that's what's been happening. And that's what I want to warn you about. Okay, and I talked about this ad nauseum. I believe we have topped. It doesn't mean we're going to sell off immediately, okay, because they are propping up the markets as much as they can. But I do believe that the markets turned last Wednesday, okay. We talked about this despite the most recent 25 basis point FOMC rate cut. Guys, Federal Reserve Bank is not interested in controlling inflation. They are trying to hyperinflate their debt out of it, because if the cutting of the rates worked, we would not be rising at these levels. We're still hovering around 44.32. Bond market is calling BS on the Fed. Either they are stupid or they know exactly what they're doing. They're trying to do the wealth transfer to the elites by hyperinflating debt. And if you don't believe everyone's been buying physical gold and silver and Bitcoin before this Bitcoin broke out, remember, Bitcoin is a digital representation of where gold should be. Had COMEX and LBMA not been suppressing the prices of gold and silver. That's a known fact. JP Morgan Chase pays like, $200, $300 million fine every year, along with other banks. All right. Today, the TNX is at 44.06. It's been wavering between 44 and 06 and 43.98. Regardless, it's elevated. It's not coming down. I believe we're going higher. Okay. This is a tweet that I put on last week. Okay. And if you don't believe that at that last BRICS meeting, they're discussing new international precious metals exchange, okay, and how that's going to potentially, if that news ever came out, impact the price of gold and silver, which the fiat-driven FOMC and the central banks are doing, are hell-bent on suppressing, that's going to show a significant jump. And we're talking about magnitude jumps. We talked about those. I know I talked about the ranges. If you want to find that out, you need to join my group for that, right? So, and this is the other thing. Misconduct of the banks, and Swiss finance minister finally said the thing out loud. Okay? It almost seems like they're completely out there now, in your face about it. They don't care. There's no hiding it. They're basically saying, yeah, we're looking for war. Yeah, we're going to hyperinflate, and then inflation is going to be out of control. Yes, we're trying to basically create, all these issues where you cannot speak freely anymore, and we want government control, and that's what's happening. Here's Bitcoin, folks. This is last Wednesday, and this is Bitcoin monthly. This is the monthly chart, and this is Bitcoin daily chart, okay? It was at 93,355 a week later. Okay, we're at 95. Hit the highs at 95.65. When I took a snapshot of this, 94.055. Currently, it's at around 94,700. But this is what's going on. Bitcoin is the digital representation of gold. It's going to 100K, folks. Probably, maybe by Friday. In the meantime, last week I also talked about gold having bottomed at these levels while Bitcoin was breaking out. And I said Bitcoin goes first, gold, then silver. They're all going to break out because that's the plan. And if you don't believe me, central banks and everybody else and their uncle, I bet even Warren Buffett has bought those gold. Maybe Bernanke even bought gold. I don't know. He's been awfully quiet. All right. Go trust the FOMC or Fed presidents at your peril. They do not work for the American people. Okay? They are a private bank. Today, we bottomed exactly where I said they would. Okay, we are now beginning to move higher. And believe it or not, I'm waiting for a parabolic move as soon as probably Bitcoin gets above 95K to 100K. Once that move is done, there's going to be funneling of money into gold and silver. Or if the BRICS announces their precious metals exchange, or they start dumping US dollars in earnest in response to the warmonger-like rhetoric by allowing to use American and British missiles striking Russia. That is, I don't know. I hope there's restraint, and I hope Russia shows restraint. I'm sick and tired of this crap at this point. So I said Bitcoin, then gold, then silver, right? So that's where it's going. And this is the 10-year treasury chart from last week. I think we're just bouncing around in that area, okay? And then, of course, we have this corporate, executive stock sales are reaching all-time highs. That includes NVDA. By the way, NVDA reports earnings after hours. So let's go into some of these chart analysis, Okay, let me bring them down, and then we can talk about these. Okay, let's go first of all with NVIDIA, because everyone's asking me about NVIDIA. Okay, guys, NVIDIA has been churning up at these levels. Everyone thinks it's going to go sky high. But remember what's happening to SMCI. The accounting gimmicks and tricks that the SMCI has been using and that they're being accused of cooking their books is the same thing on NVIDIA. And in fact, NVIDIA's AI division, there's only 3 customers, and the largest customer is SMCI, and there's some finagling going on. And, I've been posting some cryptic stuff. If you dig into it, okay, NVIDIA and AMD's CEOs are blood related, right? They're cousins, okay? Not to mention the fact that, they came out of nowhere, all right? Just think about that as we speak. So what do I think NVIDIA is going to do? Well, NVIDIA is basically losing relative strength. It's, like I said, topping out at these levels. Okay. And so, my thing is that with the insider dumping the shares, even if it pops a little bit, I think it's going to sell off because it's got an albatross around its neck, which is SMCI. Let's look at NVIDIA for the weekly. Again, just churning around right tightly at these levels. Some people might say this is gaining energy to move higher, but the RSI is telling you otherwise, and we are about to form a death hook right on the MACD. Let's talk about gold, okay? Clearly, you can see this breakout area. It defended that area, poked through, and then formed a tail candle. We're now moving higher. And I think with all the war rhetoric that's going on, that's exactly what's going to happen. Let's look at silver. Same thing, all right? Here's a reversal tail right off of the trend line, long-term trend line that it's coming. Yes, it has a little bit of doji candle. Maybe it comes back in and goes higher. Remember, Bitcoin first, gold next, and then silver, okay? So the other thing is, if you don't believe that the China is facing inflationary pressure, and then now maybe potentially figuring out that they're going into a recession and worse yet, maybe deflationary credit collapse, look no further than BABA. This is a chart that I extended. I think I made a video on BABA probably, I don't know, maybe a month and a half ago. And RSI continues to be directional, okay? All these boxes are gap fills, and it's been basically filling gap here, and then once it fills here, maybe it bounces back down. But these are all the levels that I think it's going to go down on. And, China is warning you that a recession is coming, okay? If you don't believe me, look at all the insiders that are selling. Buffett still sits on, beside the fact that he bought a little bit of Domino's pizza everyone's getting gagas over. Everybody's selling, folks. All right. Don't be exit liquidity. So here's what I think. Use of U.S. and U.K. missiles basically tells you that the powers that be wants war before Trump gets into the office. Okay. Look at what they do, not what they say. Okay. This is coming from a party that is about peace, tolerance, just understanding one another, gay rights and all this rights. But yet they're the ones that are the warmongers. Right? Why would literally? If Joe Biden is not fit to run for president, and that's why they put Kamala in there, right? Now all of a sudden he has the faculty and ability to trigger war and do something like this. Guys, I don't think Russia screws around, and they know that they're cornered. All right. I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't really like this. So at the current time, yes, we're buying gold and silver, physicals and futures. Okay. Gold and silver slam is alive and well, but I think that is over. I think the action of not only the 10-year treasury, but the U.S. dollar, we need to keep a note on, right? U.S. dollar seems to be that if it goes below 104.50 and continues to fall, that's a clear indication that the BRICS nation participants may be dumping the U.S. dollar in favor of converting to either the BRICS currency, I think, which is real and exists. They just haven't announced it. But, Russia is now telling people that they want their natural gas, which is winter. Russia is the biggest producer of that. Also uranium, folks, if they're going to do nuclear war, although we'd all be dead if that happened. I hope that doesn't happen. Okay. I think the parabolic move off the lows will come soon because they're guaranteeing right now something's going to blow up in the next few days, maybe over the weekend. 10-year treasury is above 44. Either the bond market is wrong or the equity market is wrong. That's the warning. Black swans everywhere, folks. Watch the U.S. dollar break below 104.50. That's what you want to look at. Gold and silver, naked short slam. That's going on. Will it hold? There's over 1,000 to 1 ratio of silver naked shorts now in the COMEX. And that's not good. NVIDIA earnings are tonight, and that's sure to move the markets. Even if it pops a little, I think it's going to get sold into by the insiders. And also, don't buy the SMCI's last-ditch attempt to save delisting. They got some really disreputable auditors, and even them, I think they're having a hard time trying to cover for them. Regardless, this little bounce on SMCI looks like it's inviting for another round of shorting. If you do options, IV percentage is really, really high. So regardless, be careful out there. Pray for peace. And that's all I've got for that. And then, so if you like my video, I want to thank you for watching it. Like us, share us, subscribe, follow me on Galaxy Doc Market. And if you want to find out how to join my group, here it is, Coach Brandon at protonmail.com. Stay safe out there. Bye-bye.